With Chainsaw Man chapter 190, the battle with the aging devil, it is officially ended, and with this battle, it ends the most Chainsaw Man way ever. It's a complete subversion of expectations. You close out the last chapter with the Octopus Devil chowing down on the aging devil, and so you know that things are likely done, but this chapter just outright confirms there's no more action going on, and honestly, this, while it is anticlimactic, is actually the only way you could have taken down the aging devil, in my opinion, because there was a stalemate going on and neither side was going to win. So we open up the chapter with the aging devil surrounded by darkness and asking the important questions of where is he, and for a moment, he even begins to wonder if he's been eaten by Chainsaw Man, and that's where everything changes. The aging devil suddenly gets shouted at, and he's getting asked, how could you have ever sent the chainsaw devil into their world? And that's where Fujimoto decides to pull something very clever here. Pochita in the real world has opened up his mouth, and the guy from the aging devil's dimension that was lecturing Denji earlier, he suddenly leaps out to grab hold of the aging devil, and he quickly makes a move to drag it inside of Pochita. We then transition over to Fumiko smiling as one of her comrades looks up on her with eyes of betrayal, and that person's learned a very valuable lesson. When it comes to Fumiko, you're not really her ally, because the moment she no longer needs you, you are just as much as good as dead to her, because survival is the only thing that she ever truly cares about. Meanwhile, back in the aging devil's dimension, we see the fruits of the labor of Yoshida's plan in effect. He doesn't hesitate to introduce himself and get right down to business, letting the aging devil know that they brought it here to bargain. And what's interesting about that is the way that Yoshida is speaking. It lets it be known that they were basically taking a huge gamble here. He has balls of steel. He was betting that if they were going to be able to trap the aging devil in this dimension, that it will be forced to abide by the same rules that they were forced to, which means being unable to use their devil powers. When you think about it, it is a gamble, because if there was one loophole to this whole aging devil dimension, you would think it would be that even in this place that the aging devil will be able to use its power. But silence of the aging devil right now, it is enough for Yoshida to get his answer, proving the expression that silence can speak louder than some words to be correct. Realizing that he's right, Yoshida tells the aging devil that he should make a contract with all of them, Denji, Yoshida, and Yoru, and you can tell that the aging devil's basically taken aback by this, and for really good reason. It's, again, a very ballsy decision to start making demands, yet Yoshida, he has all the leverage in the negotiations, and it's so obvious that even a goofball like Denji can see it. When the aging devil asks them what happens if it refuses, Denji just lays out the harsh reality. They've already confirmed that people can escape through its mouth and exit through Pochita in the real world, which means it would only be Denji and the aging devil right there in that realm. And this is one of those moments where you can really tell that it's finally hit the aging devil in terms of reality, and it's just downright funny. It might be a primal devil, one of the most feared devils in existence. One of the devils that's never been killed in hell, but even this devil was too afraid of spending an entirety of eternity stuck alone with Denji, and again, it's hilarious when you think about it. You can just imagine some of the degenerate behavior that Denji would just be carrying out in that eternity that would eventually get on the aging devil's nerves, and worst of all, it would be Denji doing things that are the most Denji thing ever that he wouldn't think is anything wrong, that would just completely drive the aging devil crazy. Denji is hilarious as a character in the sense that he can be annoying at times, and what makes it so sad is that he's annoying, and it's hilarious in how he carries himself out, but he doesn't realize that he's being annoying. And this, of course, leads to the aging devil making the contract with the group off screen, and we jump back into the real world where there's chaos of the Chainsaw Man wannabes and they're raging on, and we wind up inside of a certain coffee shop that looks kind of familiar to the one that Reze was working in, and we have everyone sitting down to order. This time we have one of the fake Chainsaw Mans. They barge into the coffee shop, but before it can do any damage, someone comes up and stabs it in the back, and it's back to normal everyday life for Denji and his very interesting motley crew. We end off the chapter with a man working at a construction site, and funny enough, the older Japanese official who made the original contract with the aging devil, he's cursing at Denji and company for leaving him, and it's kind of hilarious when you take into account the dark humor. Never mind the fact that, like, we don't know or we didn't see how Denji got out of that dimension, but this guy was basically willing to kill countless small children for the chance to live longer because he didn't want to die. And now he's stuck in the aging devil's dimension where he'll be able to do just that, but not in the way that he originally intended, which is a classic example of a monkey's paw. Be careful what you wish for because there are unintended consequences. From this chapter, there are a few things that we can really take into account and dive a little bit deeper into now that the arc itself is done. First, we have Fumiko's very selfish nature and how she not only was able to, as of now, still undisclosed reasons, clone herself, and this has raised her threat level to us as readers to a much higher level, or rather it should raise her threat level because for someone like her to have that ability, an overpowered ability at that, so simple it's overpowered, and is so quick to shift her alliances, it just makes her more interesting and more dangerous because we now have to expect the unexpected with her character. She's someone who hasn't been around in the story for a really long time. She's been around less than Yoshida and even Mitaka and even Fami, yet she's also someone who has been given so much development that if you're finishing these chapters and you're just hating the character like I am, it means that Fujimoto has accomplished his job. Like, she's not even the mastermind type that people tend to normally hate, like say a Fami or a Makima. She's almost like a reverse power, and by reverse I mean worse. They do what's in their best interest, both of them, Power and Fumiko, but Power for all of her faults. Power wasn't someone who took things as far as what we saw with Fumiko, which is the most dangerous part because every encounter with Fumiko, it comes with a risk. That's also what makes you sit down and look at the whole cafe scene so much closer. Take a look at the dynamics that you have here because there's so much going on in just one panel. You have Denji being separated by a potential puppet master and Fami, and on the other side of Fami, you have Mitaka, who likes Denji, but she also shares a body with Yoru, who might also like Denji as well, but she also wants to kill Chainsman at the same time. Then on the other side, you have Fumiko and Yoshida, two people who literally just betrayed Denji not too long ago, sitting on the other side of him. They're all cordial with each other. There should be open tension based on everything that's happened, especially after Nayuta's been killed. Yet they're sharing a meal together like it's nothing, which I think is a reflection of how extreme the Aging Devil's encounter was, because things that could have ended up much worse for everyone involved. With this, the current arc, it should be coming to a close. As for the release of the next chapter, I've seen two different dates. Viz Media Shonen Jump app says the next chapter should be dropping in 7 days, but Manga Plus says it'll be out on the 28th. So we'll have to wait and see which one is right, but if I had to guess, I'd say go with the Manga Plus date, since Manga Plus is directly from Shueisha, so it might be a coding error by Viz Media. But if Viz Media drops a chapter early, obviously check back next Thursday when the chapter review should drop.